welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who formerly used to work as a security contractor living inside of a massive mansion that guarded an underground laboratory. However, an infection broke out, and he lost his memory, and he went inside that place and had to battle a bunch of zombies. But then afterwards, he came out into the city that was destroyed and had to fight all the people in that city. And then he was in the desert for a final stand against a bunch of birds. And then for some reason, he went to a prison and made his way to a boat. And then he went his way to a shopping mall place that changed everything. And then he went to another place that had a lot of rocks and a lot of zombies. And he made his final stand. It's John Levengood.
You started talking about that, and I just kept thinking about Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard when you just started talking about security in a mansion. I just imagine Kevin Costner carrying someone like Whitney Houston and kicking down zombies as he goes through the crowd.
Yeah, just whapping him out of the way with Whitney in his arm.
And Danny Aiello is totally trying. Was that Danny Aiello?
Yeah, I think.
Or was that some other guy? Maybe that's some other guy. The dude who might look like Danny Aiello and who may or may not be Danny Aiello keeps trying to help and he keeps getting in the way. And so Kevin Costner has to kick him down and then he turns into Zombie Chow.
Costner does?
No, the guy who looks like Aiello.
Gotcha.
Or Aiello.
Costner would never allow himself to be bit.
Dude, and Costner has that katana.
Yeah?
In the movie.
And then in Mariner, the Mariner from Waterworld.
He's got his boat.
Yeah, and he lived in a post-apocalyptic land in Postman, where he had a big wrestling match.
So Resident Evil basically copied Kevin Costner's filmography.
Yes, so you have The Bodyguard, right? And then the second one would be Waterworld. The third one would be Dances with Wolves. The third one would be The Postman. The fourth one would be Man of Steel. The timeline's getting weird.
And then the closest thing he's ever been to a ninja for like in Retribution and Afterlife is in The Bodyguard.
Yeah, because he had the sword, right? So then you go back to the
That's all I got, yeah.
And then Robin Hood, Men in...
I'm taking you somewhere weird here.
I just said Robin Hood, Men in Thieves.
That's where you got the crack shot
That
ability.
doesn't sound right. Robin Hood, Men in Thieves. Robin Hood, Prince of Tights. Wait, holy crap. Robin Hood, what's the Mel Brooks one? Let me figure this out. Yeah, Men in Tights.
Men in Tights and Prince of Thieves.
Okay. Was it Robin Hood, Men in Tights, or is it just
I really like Prince of Tights, though.
Yeah.
That sounds a little like an adult film, though.
I was mixing those things up big time.
Or maybe it's like the male Flashdance, Prince of Tights.
Oh, yeah. He's a roughneck Pennsylvania steel worker who just wants to dance. But he's older. He's not like a teenager. So
you were giving us a pretty big overview of what could have been a character in a franchise's exploits when we opened. Why on earth would you have been doing that?
Well, we're doing it, John. What are we doing? We're doing the Kevin Costner filmography? Yeah, we're covering every single K-Cos film. We're going to go through it, then go back. So we're going to do like a snake. We're going to go from the beginning to the end, then we're going to work our way back from the end to the beginning. It makes no sense.
But we're always going to avoid Dragonfly.
Yeah. Oh, Dragonfly. Oh, my goodness. Dragonfly?
Yeah, I don't like that movie. That was the one where there was like the premonition or something, and his wife came back in the form of a dragonfly or something. I don't know.
Every Kevin Costner movie I can think of, I feel like he eats an apple by cutting it with a knife, and then he puts the apple in his mouth.
Pretty sure that didn't happen in Waterworld.
Remember when he came out of the thing with fruit in his mouth?
Was that an apple?
Maybe fruit. Every movie I can think of in my head, he's cutting fruit with a knife. This question needs to be answered.
I'll take that.
I am doing a deep dive, folks. Deep dive into Costner eating fruit. But yeah, so we're going to talk about... almost in a row, we're going to talk about all 6 of the Resident Evil movies, 4 of which are directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. 6 of them, all 6 are written by and produced by Paul W.S. Anderson, starring Milla Jovovich. They took place from 2002 to 2017. The funny thing is, for years, I think John and I thought there were 7 of them.
That's true.
And I thought Paul Anderson directed all of them. And I couldn't delineate the 4th from the 5th, which I thought were potentially the 5th and the 6th. So I made up a Resident Evil movie in my head but I think I just combined a couple of them.
That was the one where they were at a carnival.
Yeah. And they were just battling zombie clowns. Oh my
Carnival zombies.
Yeah, carnival zombies. While she was still trying to win games. Like, that guy from Dawn of the Dead when he tried to check his blood pressure? Like Alice is trying to win the squirt thing where you squirt water in the thing's mouth while zombies are closing in.
You love that Dawn of the Dead guy from 1978.
Yeah, I figured out his blood pressure.
I want to know why he did that in the middle of the mall zompocalypse.
Probably look cool for the special. They need to get rid of some blood.
He's like joking with his friends, like, "Hey, look how stressed out I am."
You should go to Movies, Films, and Flicks because I wrote a post about what his blood pressure would be, and I wrote an entire backstory for him. And I called up everybody I knew who was a nurse, an EMT. I have a bunch of EMT friends. I sent them all the facts that I had, and we all came up with a number for the blood pressure. But you got to go to the site to read it. But yeah, so we're talking about the Resident Evil movies, John. I mean, these are movies that they're like a weird laughing stock amongst people, but there's 6 of them. Every single one of them has pulled a profit. Their budgets have never been insane. I mean, the first one cost $30 million. And you know what's really interesting? So I was doing some research for all these movies, the 6, not 7. And I looked through 10 lists that rated the Resident Evil movies. And none of them were the same. I mean, odds are them being the same. That's not, close. If they all were the same, that'd be more random if they were all different, of course. But none of them were even remotely the same.
Did the majority of them favor, like, part 1?
Dude, 7 was number 1 in one of them. Number 1 was number 1 in 2 of them. The second one was number 1. The third one was number 1. Someone wrote about how the 5th one was amazing. These movies, no one agrees on them.
Fifth one, I think 4 and 5 are pretty fun.
Yeah, but I just think it's really interesting that it wasn't, when you rank the Star Wars movies, you're probably going to know it's in the top 3. I'm just saying, of the majority of people. But the Resident Evil, folks are all over the place. And people seem to like these movies. And I kind of respect them because they just got really weird. They kept surviving. They make a big international gross. They don't really care about continuity. They go to some crazy lengths. They're barely comprehensible in 4 and 5. I can't even tell you the plot, but I kind of love them. I as like a fan of film, if you go into this thinking, oh, they're talking about all the Resident Evil movies. But the way I look at these movies there's 6 of them. They all made money. There's a big fan base around them, and all of them are basically different. And they took weird chances, and there's a lot of personality to the weirdness of these films. So as a fan of film, I'm a fan of this franchise.
I actually liken this franchise a lot to the Saw franchise because as I was watching these films as they would come out, like I buy most movies that I like. I bought all the Resident Evils. I bought all the Saws. But the typical pattern would be you see a movie in the theater. You wait, back in 2002, you had to wait a whole year just about to get it on disc, right? So then a year later, you get it on disc and maybe you watch it again. But by then, you're just a year away from the new movie. Maybe you watch it again, but oftentimes you just think like, oh, well, I've seen this twice now, so I'm just going to wait a year and I'm going to go see part 2. See part 2, but you know part 1, right? Everyone knows part 1. But then part 3 comes out. You might have seen part 2 in the theater, watched it when you got the disc. But not everyone just goes in marathons 1 and 2 before part 3 comes out, right? Mm-hmm. And eventually part 6 will come out. Not necessarily everyone will go marathon 1 through 5 just because 6 is out. So when you watch these movies with their gaps, and the gaps are not small. These aren't like the Saw movies came out every year back to back except for Jigsaw, which was almost 10 years later, which really shocked me. But when you watch those movies with a year apart, it's hard to keep up with the plot because their plots are so tightly linked. And it turns out that when I rewatched all the Resident Evils a year ago, I noticed the same thing. I used to think that these movies got really, really zany in their plots, but when I watched one movie a week, it was actually like, oh my gosh, this is actually one pretty not that ridiculously gelled plot. And so it's interesting watching them in closer succession than when I think back to it. Because when I thought back to Saw, I thought those movies got just silly, crazy, and the plots made no sense. Watched them all in a row. I was like, this is a piece of art. I'm going to throw that back, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, remember, I was writing a piece about if the amount of Saws in a Saw movie affected the tomato meter, and you started breaking down the plot of all the 8 Saws? 9 Saws?
Yeah, so there's 8. If you include Jigsaw, there's 8 Saw movies.
Okay, and you were talking about the continuity throughout and the different timelines, and I pulled a Tommy Boy, and I quote that old guy going, "Oh my God!" It's dense.
I'm telling you. So, and the thing is that like Saw does alternating timelines, but with this, I guess as we'll get to it over the next couple months, what these movies do is they keep calling back pieces of information. It's almost like in Game of Thrones or the old Walking Dead, the older Walking Dead seasons, where you met a character in season 2 that all of a sudden reappeared and was really important in season 5 or something. And the Resident Evils do this a lot, and they really start to gel together a lot of things that just seem like disparate random concepts, in random sequel X. And I really appreciated that I appreciated it when I watched them in succession, and I totally missed it when I was just watching them largely as they were coming out, and sometimes with years apart, right? Because these were 2002, and it was either late 2016 or early 2017 that Part 6 came out.
I mean, and I think that's a good point what you said, because I remember watching 4, and I was like, "What is happening? What is going on?" But
right, because it just picks right up. Yeah. It's just assuming that you knew what was going on.
I'm kind of excited because I'm going to do. I made the decision to just watch the movie that we're potting about. I'm not going to get ahead because I don't want to have because then it's just we're talking about the entire series. Right?
It's going to confuse you.
Yeah.
If you do it, you're going to start. If you watch part 2 and 3 this week, then when we talk about part 2, you might actually start meshing some of it.
And then by the time we get to 4, people are like, "Well, I've already heard about 4." So I'm just going to, and also I just want everyone to know, I listen to both commentaries on this Blu-ray. John listened to the majority of one of the commentaries. We're going to do deep dives into each Resident Evil film. And I'm kind of excited. I think these are movies, films and flicks movies. They're dorky, they're loud, they're fun, they've been successful. I think they kind of represent outlier Hollywood that's been able to survive. And I respect that. It's a bonkers franchise that's been allowed to live on.
It's kind of interesting to me, too, that this was done after 5 years after Event Horizon. We had a hell of an episode on that.
Yeah, and Soldier came out in between.
Right. Yep.
So it was Event Horizon, Soldier, and then he probably had to go to director's jail for a little bit. And then he did. I mean, Soldier's fine. It just didn't do well, and that's what happened.
I love Soldier.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? He got this movie because this was his dream job, and he had to get it independently financed. This is not a studio picture, and he got $30 million. So for a lot of these movies, if they go over budget, The Hobbit or Solo, they have more money. But if they wanted to add something, they had to subtract something in this movie. This movie is a $30 million. That's it. And I think they were able to really work what they had. I mean, they had to go to Germany, but I think they were really crafty with their locations and what they built. And, the commentaries actually explain a lot of that. But we should do something first, John.
Oh, we probably should. In proper Movies, Films, and Flicks vein, we have listener questions, and I have one of them I'd like to open with.
Ooh.
So, Kat from Gainesville, Florida asks... This is a bit wordy. So I'm genuinely curious about the benefits of working for the Umbrella Corporation. What is their onboarding package? I'd probably turn down their job offer because, zombies. But the subterranean office digs weren't looking so bad. Sure, the window views were fake, but it still beats what I'm working with in the basement of a lab. Actually, now that I think about it, would it really be a bad place to work? The safety breakdown seems to be more of a personal vetting issue rather than an inherent system flaw, a la Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park.
I mean, so if you go back to the beginning and you watch the people in this building, they all look pretty happy, right? The guy has his coffee. Everyone seems well rested. The scientists who come back into the room that gets flooded, they all seem pretty chill. None of them seems excessively tired. Everyone seems well dressed.
They practically work from home.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like they're just in like a skyscraper that's underground, and you just like get in an elevator, and then you're at your floor where you work.
Yeah, and I guess there's no commute, so that's nice, right?
You know, when this opened, and I only thought of this when I was watching this today, actually, is in the beginning, even though it doesn't do like all the little mini character vignettes that we see in the Belko experiment, it made me think of the Belko experiment, where you have like this company operating in a totally disjunct manner. But despite the fact that it's, you know, it's remote, it's probably out of most of these people's comfort zones geographically or something like, but, you know, in that building, that space was a very comfortable, familiar space, and not just because they worked there.
And they seemed a lot happier, though, in Resident Evil than they did in Belko. You should listen to that podcast with the Belko experiment. These people they didn't have the commute. The security was already there, correct? Because they couldn't get out.
Right. And they seem to have, I'm sure they had some military ops, right?
Oh, for sure. But do you think they probably work on cycles. Like they probably 6 months on, a month off or something like that. Because you can't keep people locked up in subterranean things for that long, unless they're making bank.
Right. I mean, yeah, we only saw in the movie, they reveal one way in and out, and that's the mansion that the film opens in, where we find Milla, and it goes down to this train. But I'm assuming there's another there's another train route that goes to the surface. It's not like everyone got in there through that mansion. And they're like, if their mother-in-law stops by because you just had a baby with your colleague/wife, like they're not coming in through the mansion train, I assume. But when I look at this place, though, like when I really think about the overhead and the benefits to having the people right there, no one's late, right? Like it's everyone's a little in your business, for better or worse, because it's so compact, if you will. Even though they call it Raccoon City, there are no adjacent cities. So if you like call in sick and BS that, like you can't go out and have a good time because someone's going to be like, yeah, I saw Frank. It's like, Frank's sick.
He was playing paintball.
But at the same time, like, I wonder, maybe this job pays just barely enough, but I'm guessing you get free room and board, right? Because they have cafeterias. Because remember at one point they go to Dining Hall B.
I think there's big bucks.
I think free room and board. I think that they have their insurance covered. You don't need homeowners insurance, by the way, if you have a free apartment with the company there. And I have a feeling also that this is very, very attractive to new researchers and young professionals who are starting a family who might have some debt because now they can get their paycheck and have no living expenses.
So you're saying that there's some kind of so you're thinking there's some younger professionals working in this lab, or there's some crazy stuff going on. They're just kind of like the young R&D?
I think so, man. And coming from the research world, right, and seeing my friends either go to academia or industry right out of their PhD, it's like if you're getting people right out of their PhD, they haven't learned what industry is like elsewhere yet. You get to sculpt them. They aren't coming in with any notions about whether or not you're ethical as much. They're going to be so thrilled to get a paycheck and to move up that they're probably going to keep their mouth shut. Whereas if you were out there in the world doing some groundbreaking research for a few years at a university and then you get recruited, you're probably going to ask a lot of questions.
I didn't see a lot of – off the top of my head, the zombies looked older to me.
Well, the average person walking out with their PhD in applied sciences is probably 30. Yeah. So I mean, I got mine at 33.
Gotcha. So you think they would recruit them and immediately put them underground? You don't think they would work with them for a couple of years and be like, hey, we want you to put you in this job?
Well, maybe a company postdoc too. I mean, a lot of people are in academia, if they go to a postdoc, they're like 35 to 38 by the time they're getting their professorship outside of the university.
What if they put them in a research development job, then they find out that they have certain moral flexibilities by kind of just talking to them, and then once they kind of have analyzed each person, then they offer them the job in this in this lab.
Well, I mean, but if it's like through a sister company, then it's still moving up. You keep your mouth shut when you're moving up fast.
They're working through sister companies?
Well, I mean, because if they saw them, right, if they had a job on the surface, maybe it's one of the umbrella corporation's other companies, or maybe they have a surface facility where they just do, immunization tests on rats instead of military-grade mutagenic virus testing on rats.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But no, I'm serious. Like, I feel like Umbrella is like another Belco when we look at the scale that Belco really was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are there other Umbrellas? Are there other Raccoon Cities? Is there Trash Panda City?
Where did it start from? I don't know much. I think it's just it started in Raccoon City and spread. But there are more hives because in the third one there's that underground laboratory, right? So there's a ton of underground. Who's building these? Oh,
that's right. And in Retribution, she ends up at kind of like a rendition facility where, there's a simulation in a huge dome of Tokyo and another of like Russia and another of a different city. So they do a lot.
They're building underground.
And they did end up with that whole that ocean liner, not ocean liner, that like military naval ship that was a huge mega research facility in part 4 or 5.
I'm less concerned about the virus and more concerned about who's building these subterranean labs.
Telling you, they've been around, these people. They're selling skincare products that literally make you more youthful. And then monsters.
Has something ever good happened in a subterranean lab? Doom. Horrible. When you get thrown... like
a cure for wellness.
Yeah. Terrible. I mean, has anything... Phantom of the Opera. I mean, what, like...
Amazing Spider-Man. Lizard Man was down there.
Yeah. I mean, Blade 2. Subterranean labs are horrible.
My God. It does occur to me, though, subterranean lab or not, for those young professionals coming in, they also get to boast for their newcomers cutting-edge technological experience.
So if you think we answered that question?
I think so. Gosh, I gotta clean up my resume, man. I gotta look up. Do you think that Umbrella Corp is advertising jobs on Indeed?
Yeah, I think you just gotta Google the right things, and then they find you.
Okay.
So right now you go, I'm a morally flexible scientist who has no problem injecting trash pandas with serums.
So I'm gonna look up how to pay off student loans quickly.
Yep.
I'm going to get on Google Scholar and WebMD a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll go to some forum for cheating on your taxes on Reddit.
There we go.
Oh, and I'll have to publish a paper for my dissertation.
And where do I find companies who pay my insurance?
That's right. Like loan forgiveness is a company perk.
I don't want to get paid a lot. I just want to have perks.
This makes me think about like when comedians make fun of millennials, and like, so one of the things they'd write is like, I need a job that pays me X amount of money and gives me free housing and free insurance and free
and allows me to stab animals with serums.
And stabbing animals with serums. I mean, they got to be. You did say though, those people they did seem like they were not bummed out about going to work. Even if you had a trivial job there, it seems that you're getting paid enough that you're happy. It's like being a Microsoft secretary in, what was it, in the 90s.
And the coffee looked good.
When it spilled on the guy?
Well, it looked like a good, like it looked like he had good creamer.
He did seem like he was more upset that the coffee spilled than the fact that he got coffee spilled on his shirt.
I could smell that coffee, John. Like, in some movies where they just go up to the pot and they just pour some sludge into their cup, and you're like, that's not good work coffee. I feel like
that just looks like black water.
Exactly. This guy, that's mud. This guy put work into that coffee, and he was going to enjoy that coffee. And this is a job where you can feel comfortable enough to enjoy coffee.
Yep.
Man, what a great place.
I think that Kat asked that question because Kat is working on her PhD right now, and she's just looking for. She was hoping we'd suggest a company with similar perks.
I mean, the one problem with this company is the ventilation, because I feel like if you're working in a laboratory that is home to one of the worst viruses known to man, the ventilation just wouldn't lead into the rest of the area. If you're
This is a legitimate concern, but I'm more worried about what happens after Dining Hall B has Chili Day.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to create an underground laboratory and research the T virus, you better have good ventilation. No?
I mean, presumably, federal regulations would actually suggest that to have a laboratory, you need to have an independent ventilation.
Yeah. So,
but that would mean that it wasn't shared with any of the non-laboratory spaces. It wouldn't be shared with the other laboratories, and it would be really, really difficult. You'd need like a mining engineer to come up with the pressure system to basically push that air all the way up to the surface or something. That would be very difficult.
It would have to get filtered too, right? Because you don't want that air. Man, I think they went cut rate on contractors, John.
Umbrella clearly isn't federal. So, yep, they probably cut some corners there. And you know what else? I don't remember, because I did my rewatch of all these movies a year ago, and so I just rewatched Resident Evil for today. And so I don't know if they ever reveal geographically where Raccoon City was. Eventually, we end up in Las Vegas and all these other places. It's probably somewhere in North America, but I don't think they reveal specifically where it is. But, like, what if it was in northern Mexico?
It seemed like a very wooded area. Because remember the mansion? It wasn't that far of a ride in that train. Like, how far was the train ride?
Oh, yeah, probably not northern Mexico. That's right, the woods. So, or was it in Europe? Or was it in some Alp? Like, was it somewhere in the Swiss Alps? Or was it somewhere in a lonely area of the Appalachians in West Virginia or way up in Maine? But like, where was it a place where it's going to be able to get under the radar more easily?
Man, could you build that in the United States?
If you were a quintillionaire.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm thinking Siberia.
I feel like they don't really get into they talk about the products a little bit. And I remember there was like an ad when the movie came out. Remember, it was almost like a L'Oreal ad where they were talking about the skin products that Umbrella does, that make you look younger through some genetic therapy or something through the skin cream. But like, maybe their reach really was so big that over the course of like 10, 15 years, 20 years, I don't know how far this is in the future, that they really did become like that mega company. They became the Google plus Microsoft plus Amazon. Even that might not be enough to do this. I don't know. But, I'm just like, maybe this became or like the Oasis company, like in Ready Player One. Maybe this became so big that everybody in the world who could afford it basically had this. And over the course of a couple decades, they really could build this facility.
And much like my happening theory, this is another alternate universe. So maybe this is a universe where building subterranean stuff is cool.
While we're talking, I mean, even in Land of the Dead, which is supposed to be the future after, the Romero zombies get out into a fourth movie, like, when I looked at those cities in the future that was supposed to be like 10 or 20 years in the future, I was like, they look pretty done up for a post-apocalyptic modification to a city.
That was a really great skyscraper.
Dude, I just don't know where that money came from.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, with the tools and the glass.
Everything, man. Just everything about it. Like, I look back at like a movie like that. Like Equilibrium I get because it was decades of maybe a thriving economy while you're controlling everyone with an emotional stabilizing drug, right? Yeah. Everyone turns into like a doozer. They just build all day. So, okay, my theory is Umbrella Corporation used doozer emotional control through drugs, and that you get free insurance, room and board, in addition to a decent paycheck and experience.
And good coffee.
He didn't care about his shirt. He cared about the coffee, not the shirt. I want to point that out.
I mean, the dry cleaning there is probably... What are they dry cleaning with?
Like, if I spilled coffee on my shirt, I would be like, 1, that's hot, and 2, shit, my shirt. I would not be like, oh, my coffee!
He's kind of slacking, too, because he didn't act burnt by it. So he must have spent a lot of time creaming it. Then he was probably chatting with some people. Is he doing his job?
I don't know what his job is. He might be an intern. His job might be to get coffee.
Oh, man. But wouldn't he be more mad if the coffee got spilled?
Probably. He just had his own coffee. Maybe he already delivered the coffee to the early board meeting, and everyone else was just then going to work.
Got it. He's like, Ryan Reynolds in the
Proposal?
He got 2 of the same coffees in case one got splushed.
Or like Glenn Powell and Set It Up.
Yeah, that's another good one. What a charming movie. Let's get into Resident Evil. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Paul W.S. Anderson, the director of Mortal Kombat, Event Horizon, and Soldier, and he did one other movie before this. He teamed up with Milla Jovovich, which we learned in the commentary, playing Alice. Then we have a guy named Eric Mabus. His name is Matt in this movie. I just call him Spiky Hair. Then you have Colin Salmon, who plays One. Then you have Michelle Rodriguez, who plays Rain. Then you have a medic who gets her head chopped off. And then you have Spence, played by James Purefoy, who really... There's a scene in this movie where he's walking through some tunnels and he doesn't have a gun. He's like sneaking around. And then there's another scene where he's looking down at some zombies and he has his fist clenched like he's going to punch one of them. Like, why I oughta. He's giving a zombie a why I oughta. Just picture Joe Pesci clenching his fist at a zombie. That's what James Purefoy is doing in this movie. So you have these people, right? You have this initial scene, which is pretty gnarly, John, where one of the... Spoilers, this movie spoils everything. James Purefoy lets the virus out, and then everyone gets infected, and the Red Queen, the security system, decides to kill everybody as opposed to letting the virus out and killing billions. And people will start dropping, but there's a really nasty, fun bit with an elevator. It's like a Final Destination kill. That
elevator's fun, yeah.
And if you watch closely, when her head goes down, the floor pushes down, because if she'd have gone through that thing, her head would have gone through that floor. They made it really lightweight so it wouldn't, knock her out.
So... We start out, or I'm sorry, yeah. So we have these people panicking when everything's going wrong after what we find out later was James Purefoy throwing, by the way. Can we talk about this very blasé throw? First off, that thing was very fragile, that container.
And it also got him caught. And if the T-virus escapes, there's no need for him. Did he steal the T-virus, or did he just steal the antidote?
He had the antidotes, as best I recollect, and he was just infecting the place and leaving with the antidotes.
Got it. So then he knew the virus would spread, so then he could sell the antidote.
But I mean, he's gonna... This is a really risky plan. Okay, first off... He was in that lab wearing the protective suit. He took off the suit while he was still in the lab. And don't get me wrong, he's at the door and the door is closing. This probably like air seal lock door is closing as he's throwing that. But he knows there's a ventilation system that is not independent because it's going to infect everybody. He knows that. And so when he throws that, do you remember when we see the schematic of Raccoon City? He's got to go up an elevator up 50 floors or something to the surface, or even to get to that train. Does he know that air might travel more efficiently than he does? And once the panic hits, what if someone was holding the elevator because they were just moving in?
He should have put the T-virus in a flimsy container under someone's seat like a whoopee cushion. And then 10 minutes later, someone just sits on it when he's out of there.
I mean... Yeah, something.
So or put it on top of the door, and when they open the door a few minutes later, it falls.
As ridiculous as what you're saying sounds like from a Three Stooges movie, I think it is a far better plan than his.
Yeah.
And he throws this thing, it cracks. It's like all canisters have to look like The Secret of the Ooze, don't they?
Yeah.
I feel like Ninja Turtles gave us that canister.
But this is leading us to more faulty equipment. Because that is a horrible canister to hold a virus in, and the ventilation system's terrible.
You know, our listener question submitter, Kat, suggested that this was a personnel issue, but if that was made out of like bulletproof or shatterproof glass, or even just plastic, like a hard heat tempered plastic, that thing wouldn't have broke.
Nope.
You would have tossed it and left and nothing would have happened.
Dunk. And it just would have hit the ground.
Did you notice that in the canister, it was 2 spirals of glass with fluid in it, like a double helix? But when they injected the rabbit, it like, I don't know. I don't think this thing is functional. This is a silly criticism to have, but I had fun with this. Like they were going clearly with capturing the style, the visual style of the game, rather than considering like, okay, how would this make sense?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they just wanted it to look cool. And they didn't expect two men like us to sit around. We didn't go into this thinking to poke holes. We're just kind of coming to this.
Oh no, I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. But when I watched this movie, I had fun watching it. I enjoyed, having it on. The commentaries were in the background. I never sat there with a monocle in my eye, looking grumpy, writing horrible notes. Like I have very positive notes here. We're just kind of coming across to this, just some designer flaws, frankly.
I just wrote my notes. Why spirals? ? DNA double helix? And toss the virus canister? ? What if it didn't break? Because he closes the door. He wouldn't know if it didn't break.
Yeah, James Purefoy lives on the edge.
It was probably gonna break. Don't get me wrong. It was clearly it was like the crystal of a wine flute. How easily that broke.
The stem.
Right. But he tosses that. He's gonna get out. People are turning into zombies. We get to that great elevator scene, which was a lot of fun. And I think that they copied that in like Final Destination Part 3.
There's actually a few things in this movie. Did you know that Nick Frost and Simon Pegg watched this movie, and that really influenced them to move forward with Shaun of the Dead?
Really?
Yep, because they were like, well, zombies were like scary again.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Shaun of the Dead was 2004, and this was 2002. Okay.
There's a commentary, and this is based on word from Simon Pegg. There's a Empire podcast that goes over the Cornetto trilogy, and that's what really hit the nucleus, or that's what really pushed them to move. They may have had the idea, but when they watched this, they're like, oh wow, these zombies are scary, and they just said, you know what, we're gonna do Shaun of the Dead, and they wrote Shaun of the Dead with an influence from Resident Evil.
Boy, gosh, I really wish I had like the Terminator's computer system in my head with Bluetooth, so I could just pull up zombie movies plus or minus a couple years. Because yeah, the Dawn of the Dead remake was a couple years after Zack Snyder's one, because that was like 2007, I think.
And so is 28 Weeks Later.
That was 2007?
No, that was late. That was about 2004.
But it was still after this. Yeah. Zombies were scary again. They kind of were.
A lot of people make fun of Paul W.S. Anderson, but I thought he made a very good decision in this movie, where when you look at most of the zombies, he purposely put them in. There's one case of one zombie by itself, or there's a couple cases, but 3 cases. But for the most part, with these groups of zombies, he this is a movie where he didn't shoot widescreen. He shot full screen, 1.85. He kept it like real, kind of tight. And then when you see a lot of the zombies, they're in groups. So they're in the sewer system where they pose a big threat. Because, he was talking about when you see a zombie in an open field, you really shouldn't be worried about it. If you're adequately armed and you can move, a slow zombie is not that much of a problem. But he put them in tunnels. He put them in a close quartered area with all like dark area where they can kind of flank you from different spots. When you're being chased by a dog, you go into a room, there's a zombie in the other room with you. So the zombie parts that he had in this were really, these zombies were pretty scary in this. I think he utilized them really well, and by keeping it claustrophobic.
I agree with all that, but when you said that he did something very smart, I thought you were referring to Milla's wardrobe when we first meet her in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, as she says in the commentary, she says, oh man, I did a lot for this picture. She actually, what did she say? Oh man, what did she say?
It was something about how dedicated she was because that's my nipple. And Paul Anderson said, like, well, if you were really dedicated, we would have seen both nipples.
Yeah, and then they got married in real life. But no, I just think it's funny. She's like, you know how dedicated I am to this picture? I like when people use the word picture. Like, it's a good picture. But yeah, so she's definitely dedicated. So you come to her, she's unconscious, she's in a shower. She wakes up, she's all woozy. She finds that there's a note written for her. It's not her handwriting. And as she's walking around this mansion, this elite group of drunk commandos, they were drunk on the day of filming because it was the last day of filming, storm into the mansion. And it's Colin Salmon, Michelle Rodriguez, that whole crew. Oh, and she also comes across the spiky-haired guy, Matt. And they all kind of come together, correct?
Yep. And she doesn't really remember what's going on.
Yeah, and they really say it really fast. She's like, yeah, she doesn't remember. She just got doused. It's fine.
Yeah, little filmmaking flaw, sort of, I think, and it might be budget-based, was that when they did the muffled over, like, them in their masks while they were talking, like, probably doesn't remember, like, it all, I really had to pay really close attention to what they were saying.
I mean, that's not too expensive. That's probably just in the sound mix. Maybe he was just trying to be too realistic. He wasn't trying. Wait. Bane. Batman.
Batman, they have all you can eat. I don't sound anything like Bane whenever I put some of my Bane voices. They have all you can eat cheddar biscuits.
Red lobster. All you can eat salad.
Stop putting them in your bag. It's not appropriate.
Who's paying for this, Batman?
Evil always pays.
Oh.
Evil always pays.
Oh, Batman. How dare you?
Or horrible.
Hey, Batman, can you blend this salad for me so I can get it through my mask?
Like a kale shake after his Bane workout.
Yeah, he has a straw because he can't take off that thing. There'll be too much pain. So you find out that she lives there. She has a photo with James Purefoy, but she doesn't remember anything. These commandos get her, Michelle Rodriguez, and they're like, we're going into the hive. Because they don't know about Purefoy and the weak glass container. They just think the Red Queen, the security system, Alice in Wonderland, if you think about it in the commentary. But the Red Queen is responsible. So they're going into the hive to shut down the Red Queen. But they don't know about the zombies yet. They just think it's a security system. Because the mansion is a secret entrance. That Red Queen was a really nice touch. I remember when I first saw this, I was kind of rolling my eyes, even though I'm sure there was... I never played the games, by the way, so I don't know if this is perfect to the game or not. But I was rolling my eyes. I was a douchey 21-year-old, though. And I was like, oh, whatever. She's just here to tell us the rules of the movie. Whereas now I'm kind of like, I really like that because it gives me a pathway for exposition that isn't stupid character dialogue that's out of place. Like, oh, this is what I do because I'm this guy. There's none of that stuff. Let me tell you something.
Right. And, it's like, oh, I'm going to threaten to, punch you in the groin. Michelle Rodriguez will be like, oh, you did that last time. We can't do that. There's none of that stupid explanation stuff. And instead, we get someone there to explain to us some complicated rules. And we learn that the Red Queen is really a character, if you will, this AI that has its own agenda, its own ulterior motives, and it's not always honest. Yeah, and I think she's just doing her job. It seems like it. She wants to kill everyone so the virus doesn't get out. But it did get out because when you were doing the voices about expository dialogue, you said, I won't let you punch me in the groin again, Michelle Rodriguez. And then what did she say? Well, no, I was saying, I'm going to punch you in the groin, and then she would say, oh, no, don't do that again, because you remember last time, or something. You're going to punch Michelle Rodriguez in the groin? No, it's like if he was threatening spiky-haired dude who they found with Milla Jovovich. Gotcha. And I just double screwed up her name. I said Milla Jovovich instead of Milla Jovovich. But I didn't make a movie with her, so I have an excuse. Well, in the commentary... Unlike Michelle Rodriguez.
Milla
apparently kept screwing up her name.
And she doesn't care. Remember, she said it's Jovovich, and for the rest of it, Michelle Rodriguez is just like, Jovovich, come at me.
Come at me, bro.
So there's some groin punching. They take the elevator down to a train, but while they're working on the train, they already see there's a hole in the fence. Something has already gotten out.
So I swear that they never addressed that. I assumed when I saw that was like one of the rats or rabbits that was being tested upon that we never see in the movie.
Yeah, something got out, so the virus is already out.
But that was not a person, and it was too small to be one of those Dobermans. And it was so like when I saw that, I just thought of those rodents, and we never see any zombified rodents. If he had more budget, I would have loved to have seen Alice fight a room of zombie rabbits.
Dude, and there's an article by Shea Serrano on Ringer about how rabbits are often jerks. And if you think about the rabbit from Monty Python, the Holy Grail, there's several other really jerky rabbits.
I mean, even the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland was maybe a little dismissive and rude to Alice.
Yeah, I mean, rabbits are cinematic jerks.
It's like, hey, rabbit, what's up? I'm late. And he runs off.
It could be the white rabbits with red eyes. Those are scary. They're just flying at Alice. She's just spin-kicking bunnies. Oh my gosh.
Spin-kicking bunnies.
It'll be like Jason Statham in the Transporter when he does 8 spin kicks in a row, but it's her doing them to bunnies.
just like a whirling dervish, a maelstrom of kicks, like a Donnie Yen movie.
Just fur everywhere.
Those poor rabbits. She did a number on those dogs too.
Yeah, she kicked one right in the head. All right, I guess we'll get to that. Do you want to talk? We'll talk about it now. That's everything up. The kick is very anticlimactic once she kicks it, because it just goes and drops.
Right, and we don't get to see. We just see it get kicked off screen.
Like the kick looks cool, but as soon as she kicks it, the thing just goes.
Yeah, it's like that and that slow-mo kick, though, it's like that. It's almost like that was more the trailer moment than it was the movie moment.
Yeah.
Because everyone remembered that from the trailer.
Those kicks are terribly unpractical. I think the only person that can really pull them off is Paul Walker. If you watch Paul Walker movies, he's the king of jumping off a wall with one foot and then diving forward. So he'll use his left foot to jump off, and then he'll come through with the left. He does it in Fast 5, watch. He's a good wall jumper offer to punch in the facer.
Good wall jumper offer to punch in the facer?
Yep, technical term.
Hey.
Alright, so they're in the train, right? And they get to the hive, and they walk into the hive. Correct?
Correct.
Alright.
Then they meet the Red Queen.
But the problem is, so they meet they haven't met the Red Queen yet, because they go through that thing. Have they met the Red Queen? Because
do you mean the death laser hallway?
Yeah, that's before they meet the Red Queen, because they shut the Red Queen off. So
they go to the death laser hallway.
Oh yeah, so they go to this hallway and they get trapped, and there's 4 people in the death laser hallway, and there are 4 different lasers, correct? Are there 3 lasers or 4 lasers? Like,
so first one comes straight across,
rips off a woman's head,
and then the next one comes. It looks the same, but then it suddenly juts up when the guy jumps, and it goes right through his waist and his crotch. If this just had a little more budget or a little more balls, not balls, like he didn't have balls when he was making it, but like if it was like risque, like they might have shown like something slump out of his pants the way that got cut, and then it came through and in the commentary they said if they showed more blood they would have gotten an NC-17. So they remember when Milla said no more blood. I thought that was a joke.
No, and then Paul Thomas Anderson later said, yeah, we had to take out blood shots.
Okay, all right, but yeah, then the next time the laser came, it was just what was his name?
Colin Salmon 1.
Okay, number 1, yeah, it's coming at him. And it's like he's getting ready. He's like, he knows what it does now. And as it comes towards him, it just splits into this elaborate grid of square inches, and he just freezes. Like he's like, oh shit.
Somebody said this is an iconic scene, and I'd have to agree, because I think if the majority of people watch that scene, they know where it's from.
You mean from Cube?
Oh well, yeah, that did. Well, I know I'm being a nerd again, but in the movie they actually talk about Cube. Did you hear that reference?
You mean in the commentary?
Yeah, in the commentary.
Yeah, yeah.
Paul and Jeremy were
and
like,
he
we
didn't,
love
and
that
he
movie.
never heard of it.
No, I thought they had because they said they love that movie.
No, Paul said he never saw it.
Oh, Jeremy, did Jeremy see it?
Yeah, it's like he was saying they did the same thing in Cube, and Paul had never even seen it, so he just came up with this idea apparently on his own. And Jeremy was basically explaining, it's like, yeah, that happened in this, very artistic sci-fi horror movie, and the guy got sliced into cubes.
See, I thought they were both. I'll have to watch it again. But I was reading a review from Roger Ebert, and he's like, does this laser grid system have a sense of humor?
Right, because why wouldn't it just do that every time?
It must have been doing it for a laugh. Red Queen was having fun.
It could have done that the first time and taken out everybody at once. There's no reason for it to. But then again, Red Queen is AI. Maybe she's just kind of like playing with her food, Couldn't
you have shot the panels with your guns?
I suppose, but maybe they didn't really have time to think.
Yeah, because they were getting lasered.
Yeah, like if they watched that movie from the afterlife, they'd be like, oh man, we should have just shot the panels.
Yeah. And I think they both would have been like, yeah, it was a pretty good gag. Like, it got me. You got me, Red Queen.
And scenes like that became very popular. So yeah, like Cube did it, and then this did it. And the movie Ghost Ship does something kind of like this in its opening scene, which is everyone's favorite scene of the movie Ghost Ship, and maybe the most redeeming scene of it, when this wire slices through everyone on the dance floor, and then they just slide in half.
Oh.
And but there are lots of movies that do this. Final Destination 3 did it. The character's name was Rory. He was the stoner. When there was an explosion and this barbed wire fence launched at him. But again, it's like it goes through him and he's standing there for a second and then he starts to fall apart. Like we've seen this in a lot of movies over time. Anime likes it. Or even Voltron, when he would slice the giant bad monster. And then then all of a sudden you'd see the line appear where he sliced it, and then it would explode or something.
Oh.
Like this is this generalized notion of the post-slice effect.
Yeah.
Is a really fun, celebrated one, and it's been done in a lot of different ways.
I just love that this one, the guy jumps and then it lifts up. Like this system has a sense of humor.
Like. Yeah, that was just mean. So we find out that this Red Queen, and this becomes important in the later movies, but that the Red Queen was designed after the head programmer's daughter. And we're not going to hear about that again in this whole movie. And I don't think we're going to hear about it again for a couple movies.
I didn't remember that. You just spoiled it for me.
I spoiled it for you. You watched the movie like two times probably in the last week.
I don't even know. The first one I did, not the later ones. I don't remember that.
I wouldn't say why it was important.
That's a thing in the movies? Man,
yeah, that's the thing.
I must have been in a weird place when I watched these films, these pictures.
But, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like the Saw movies and these movies is like back in the day, we weren't watching these like back to back. We would have usually a long time between them. And so when they call back something from another movie, like, if you didn't watch them all in the last couple months, you're just going to be like, huh?
I'm kind of worried, John, because I want these. I always loved this series because I thought it was just bonkers and didn't make sense. If I watch it now and it makes sense, I wonder if that'll take away some of my love of it.
It's still bonkers. They just do some nice callbacks.
Nice. All right, so how about this? Let's take a break. I want you guys during this break to just make some callbacks to earlier in the episode. Think about your favorite parts. And then let us know on Twitter. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I think my favorite part of the episode so far, John, is when we were talking about the Kevin Costner. I feel like such a different person since then, back then. But the Kevin Costner post-apocalyptic movies, going with Resident Evil. I also really like the idea of Alice or Milla Jovovich spin-kicking bunnies. Evil bunnies. Evil. Not nice bunnies. Evil bunnies.
Are they evil when they are zombified?
You know what I mean. It's like, you get it. I mean, technically no, but you get it. That's one of those things. Like, come on, man. They're evil.
It's interesting because they describe that you go down to like your most basic function, which is to consume and survive. But it's like, so all the zombies are going to consume and survive. Okay, cool. Easy explanation. But when they do it, they're like, like, so when they go to their most basic function, they basically turn into like a bunch of drunk schizoids trying to bite you.
On Red Bull.
That's right.
Listening to some Slipknot and Nine Inch Nails and whatever else is on the soundtrack. Because I feel like a lot of animals just need to eat to survive, and they're not running around just going crazy. Yeah, oh yeah. They should have been saying that. Oh yeah. Give me that bite. I'm gonna bite you. Give me that bite. Batman. The zombies are chasing me.
I'm going to bite the cheddar biscuit. Doesn't sound anything like Bane.
I'm gonna go down to my...
I don't know where I got this voice. The Batman! Where did this come from? This is like when you do Michael Caine and I won't let it go. It's like now I'm producing something where I myself am like, what the hell just came out of my mouth?
Hey Batman, let's get to our basic things. Let's not use napkins.
The Batman.
Look at this, I'm eating soup without a spoon.
Is that Bane?
What?
Is that doing a Bane voice?
Yeah.
Bane? Hey, we can't pull a Bane off to save our lives.
Hey Bane, what's this? I'm gonna drink my soda without a straw. What do you think?
I don't know how you do it through your voice modulator.
What?
I mean, you can't talk like that all day. You'll go hoarse.
Just watch me, Bane. Just watch me. See, I told you can't talk like that.
I feel like my Bane is capturing like a bit of Dr. Evil.
Yeah. I'm like an English gentleman, Bane.
It's like I decided if Dr. Evil tried and failed to do a Bane impression.
And then Michael Caine comes up and goes, "What I bloody tell you gotta not eat all the breadsticks." That was my best one yet. She was only 16. Good Lord. Hey, Batman, let's leave. This isn't cool anymore. All right. So, listener questions?
I got a couple more. So, this is a multi-part question from Dylan from Melbourne, Australia. As they're two of the longer-running sci-fi horror protagonists, I have a few questions. 1. Ripley or Alice?
Oh, dude, you got it.
I have trouble not picking Ripley just because I grew up.
No, Ripley is the answer. But
I
just
Alice,
love the insanity of Alice.
But Alice is, the thing is, like, look, 2002. What were you? I was 21 years old. You were 19 or 20?
I was 20.
You were 20. Like, think of our age when Resident Evil came out. It was the perfect age for us to love and get started in this franchise. So it's like, this is like our franchise. Like, I mean, Alien and Aliens, 1979, 1986. It's not like I saw Aliens when I was 5. But of course I'd seen them more. It's kind of unfair.
I mean, the answer is Ripley. But I'm doing this because of this. Later on, I love Alice, but there's just some movies where all she talks is like, "It's the future. Birds are attacking me. We're all depressed. I'm gonna go fight some zombies. I'm sad. This monologue is depressing everyone. The world has gone to dust. The dust has turned into more dust. And it's gotten into the water. No one can drink it. That's made everyone more sad. To make everything else more sad, the T-virus has turned everyone. And they fell in the water. Now no one can drink that water. There's no water in this world. If you try to drink the water, you'll turn into one of them. And you might fall into a freshwater body source, like a well. And then you'll poison that family. This is a problem."
Okay, this is a really, really deep cut to people who listen to this podcast, but that was like Bane. If Bane starred in the Zombie Diaries and Bane was doing an impression of Milla Jovovich.
Oh, Diary of the Dead.
Oh, Diary of the Dead. I'm sorry, Diary of the Dead. But it's like if Bane was a character in that and he was doing an impression of Milla while doing that reading.
Oh, no, all the water dried up. That's what happened in the Resident Evil movies. The virus dried up all the water.
The virus dried up as viruses are wont to do.
And all the fish turned to skeletons. Have you ever seen thousands of fish skeletons? I have. And I had to walk over them with bare feet.
Why was she walking through the ocean like that?
Well, because I thought I was going to go for a swim.
So she walked through the whole ocean.
I mean, you got to look.
So when we're assessing Ripley or Alice, I just looked at the filmography and I realized, so Ripley's Alien movies span 4 movies in 18 years. And Milla did 6 Resident Evil movies across 14 years. Like they both really pounded that out.
And I guess Mila's arc makes sense because in the first one she's on the ship and then they bring her with the aliens and then she crash lands on a planet where there's more aliens and then she's cloned.
Ripley, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. No, that still doesn't make sense. But I mean,
so
poor Ripley can't catch a break, whereas Alice has to keep just battling because that's the world she lives in.
Yeah. Well, and both of them had a hiccup. So in Alien 3, Ripley goes to the prison planet. It's almost like, she had her wings were clipped and she was disarmed, if you will. And then in Resident Evil Afterlife, Alice loses her powers and she's human, even though she has a little bit of a fighting skill set.
And wait, in Aliens, Ripley kind of gets a daughter with Newt. And then in one of these movies, I can't remember, Alice gets a daughter.
Oh God, I could say something, but you're going to get upset with me.
You know what? Never mind. I don't want to go too far ahead because I don't want to touch on all of them.
Because that parallel is closer than you think.
I mean, I'm telling you. Well, it's Ripley.
It's Ripley. It's very, very clearly. All right, part 2 of 3 of the question. And who is the longest serving male in sci-fi horror? By the way, when he writes sci-fi horror, I'm viewing this as sci-fi / horror, not sci-fi or horror. I'm not sure how you took that.
Well, I guess it's Riddick? Because he did Pitch Black, Chronicles of Narnia, Chronicles of Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick Chronicles, Chronicles of Riddick, and then Riddick, correct? And
there's supposed to be, I think, a 4th movie.
Yeah.
And I was thinking Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Terminator movies.
What about Reanimator? How many are those?
There's 3.
And then there's Candyman? But that's not sci-fi horror, is it?
That's just horror, yeah.
Gotcha.
But Reanimator just had 3. It had 2 in the 80s, and then the other one came out in 2005 or something.
What about Jurassic Park? I mean, those are science fiction kind of horror movies. You have Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill returning, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, right? Are those sci-fi horror, the Jurassic Park movies?
That's a good question. How many movies was Sam Neill in of those movies?
So he did the first one, and then he did the third one.
Was he in the second? He was heavily in the third. He wasn't in the second.
They might have called him.
He's only in 2.
Yeah, but Jeff Goldblum was in the first, second, and then now he showed up in Fallen Kingdom.
So he's only in 3.
Yeah, but his book was mentioned in The Lost World. No, Jurassic World. So his character was still around. So technically 3, but he was mentioned in the other ones. So I mean, there's some dudes with some things going.
So on that note, and just linking to it, his third part is, and why don't males get umpteen sequels? I don't know if this is a fair comparison.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know what the real data is.
I mean, the Alien movies were really financially successful. Underworld and Resident Evil, they always turn profits internationally.
If I believe the data, if I believe his statement that males get fewer sequels in sci-fi than women do, then I would come up with the answer that males might historically be the more common protagonists in the genre, and as such are more disposable or less novel. But again, I don't know where this really falls. But I get it. It's like, because those are two really iconic female characters there. Gosh, it's curious.
I mean, and if you also look at what Life, I don't want to spoil that, Sunshine, Annihilation, I Am Legend, The Mist, you can't really make sequels to those.
I mean, the sequel to Sunshine is just a bunch of people living happily on Earth.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's every movie on Earth after that takes place after that. Because everyone's I love that movie. But
well,
yeah.
While we're at it, I was talking about Terminator. Well, I guess, yeah, so Arnold is in way more movies than Linda Hamilton. But I was going to say, it's like, but Linda Hamilton, but she was only in 2 of them.
And then the character has been in... all right, so she was in Terminator 2, and then she was... what was Terminator 3? That was John Connor. That was old... okay, that was another actor. What about Emilia Clarke in this Terminator Genesis? Was that Sarah Connor? That was Sarah Connor.
Well, it's the character, but it's the character. I guess I was thinking of it in terms of the actor.
Got it.
Like, but so I wasn't thinking of it that way.
So basically, it's just been 3 series, and it seems like a lot because Sigourney Weaver did 4, and then Beckinsale did 5, and then Jovovich did 6. So it seems like
Beckinsale,
a lot more.
Beckinsale was in 4. She only had stock footage in part 3.
Oh, got it. No, yeah. Oh, so there's 5 Underworld movies?
Yeah, there's Underworld, Underworld Evolution, Rise of the Lycans, Awakening, and Blood Wars.
What's the one where she's wearing the white coat?
Blood Wars, the newest one.
That thing was everywhere.
Blood Wars, the newest. So that brings me to my answer of the next listener question.
Ooh.
But the next listener question is from David from Fort Lauderdale, and he asks, if Milla didn't accept the role of Alice, who could have filled the role best? And just by default, the first thing that came to my mind, it's not the only thing that came to my mind, but the first thing that came to my mind was Kate Beckinsale. They're similar age, similar timeline of these movies. They both have these action-rich movies with a lot of stunts and gunplay. I thought of her.
Yeah, so Jolie was already busy with Tomb Raider, so she wouldn't have jumped into Resident Evil. Tomb Raider's 2001. 2003 was Underworld with the Becks. And during this time that they filmed this movie, she was working on probably Pearl Harbor, but she could have filled in on this. I had Becks on there, but I kind of put some really random ones. Jennifer Garner was kicking around.
I had her too. I just think that she's too wholesome of an actress to want to do this.
Yeah, I can see that because she's still kind of doing like ABC Alias type stuff.
I had her.
And Felicity was around this time. I had Lucy Liu because during this time she was appearing in action movies like Charlie's Angels.
Ballistic X vs. Sever, that might actually be 2003.
And so I actually wrote an article about that on Movie Stones and Flicks about franchise pictures. You should read it. But so I think Lucy Liu could have really pulled off this role really well, the physicality, because she was good in Charlie's Angels. Charlie's Angels took place before this one, so she could have been cast. And then I also thought maybe this is before, so like this. I think this is pre-Swordfish, but maybe Halle Berry could have been pretty cool. And
that would have been cool.
It would have been different, like it would have been a different performance. But I think of the available actresses who were at the time who would have taken this movie. And you got to understand, this was hot off the heels of Tomb Raider. And that was a big movie for Jolie. Like, that was an event. That was a legit blockbuster. So I can see why someone would want to take this film, even though the budget was much lower than Tomb Raider, $30 million. So I'm thinking, realistically, I think you're right about Jennifer Garner. I think it could have been like Lucy Liu or Halle Berry or Bex if they got her at the right moment.
And if she was a little younger, or if the movies came out earlier, Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett? Oh, heck yeah. Well,
she's like a physically fit beast, and a gorgeous woman and a great actress.
Sanaa Lathan, then, she was in Love and Basketball. She's awesome. She was in AVP later with Paul Anderson. That's right. Directed.
I kind of like Jennifer Beal too.
Yeah, Jennifer Beal. She could have done really well in this.
Yeah, it's just that back then, that was before her fit era, because this was around the time that Summer Catch came out, and it was really just a couple years after that she kind of became super fit Biel.
Jessica Biel. Jennifer Biel's the one from Flashdance from the 80s.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean Jessica Biel.
I was like, I can see Jennifer Biel.
Dude, you know what's funny? My notes, I wrote Jessica B and crossed it out. I'm like, no, it's Jennifer Biel.
Yeah,
but no, yeah, I mean from Stealth and Blade Trinity.
Yeah. I mean,
for our listeners, it's
my pick is Lucy Liu. I think Lucy Liu would have been good in this. That's my pick.
I love Lucy Liu. I'd watch that.
Set it up. It's a good movie, by the way. Very charming. Very Zoe Deutsch, Glenn Powell, very likable. Everybody wants them. Everybody wants some John Wick. Listen to that podcast we recorded. Great movie. All right, so you happy?
I'm happy. I'm hoping that David's happy. He better be happy with that answer.
I think we looked back in time, we saw who was realistically available to be cast, and we made a solid decision.
Jennifer Garner, though, man, if she was available and if she did take something like this, I think she could have been great at it. Yeah. I just don't see her willing to do, and I don't mean because of like finding Milla Jovovich basically, almost naked. Like even that stuff aside, I just don't think Jennifer Garner would ever take a role like this. I wish she would.
Maybe this would have been like a PG-13, like a Tomb Raider she would have been in.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Jennifer Garner and they're like, okay, then you're going to kick the zombie dog. She's like, I'm not kicking a dog, but it's a zombie dog. I'm not kicking a dog, but it's trying to kill you. I'm not kicking that dog. Like, that's how I see that conversation going.
I mean, Kate Beckinsale kicked a dog in Underworld, so she totally would have been down. Halle Berry, she played a Catwoman. She didn't kick any cats. But I could see her kicking a zombie dog.
Yeah, especially a zombie dog.
Yeah. It's a zombie dog covered in spaghetti.
I love that they did that, by the way.
The dog had spaghetti on it. Literally.
Oh, it was actual, mashed up spaghetti?
Yeah, and the dogs kept eating it, so they couldn't put as much on as they wanted. No, it was spaghetti. Isn't that crazy?
Gross.
And the dog actually jumped through sugar glass window when the dog jumped through the glass window.
Could you do that now? Could you get away with that now?
Yeah, it's fine. Sugar glass.
Yeah? Okay.
No animals were harmed. I don't know if you could do it now. That's interesting. It's a good question. No animals were hurt. But sugar glass ain't nothing.
I don't know. I've never jumped through sugar glass.
So I do it every day.
You jump through sugar glass?
Yeah, I got a lot of sugar glass in my backyard.
It's like that's just how I get out of bed.
Well, The Rock in Fast 5, when he jumps out when he first makes that massive introduction when he jumps through the window, I recreate that every morning on my way to work.
It's like anything with The Rock, I'm on board.
I just run through a window as opposed to using a door. And then some people put in another plate of sugar glass.
I sat through Rampage just for him.
Oh, that movie hurts. It was fun.
It was fun. It was mindless fun.
That when I calculate all the property damage, they do $250 billion just in the opening scene with that space station.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, and then all the buildings. A lot of people got murdered in Rampage, John.
That was like, I feel like that was the better part of a square mile of downtown Chicago. So that was a big price tag there.
Oh yeah, so I did the math on how expensive skyscrapers were, then I watched how many buildings that skyscraper fell on, and that's how I came up with my estimate.
And you just went with what you see on screen.
Yeah, I didn't add everything else because there's a swath of destruction everywhere, and then the tanks. I had to average the prices of those. I figured out the cost of bullets for that article. It's just stupid. All right, so the people have been lasered. They're dead, right? And so everyone kind of runs away. And they're led to this kind of area where it's just a bunch of boxes that they only had 12, and they used matte paintings and cardboard for the rest. And this is a scene where the team is there's two different squads. Oh no, here it is. Two different squads. It's Alice and another dude, and then it's Michelle Rodriguez and her crew. Alice shuts down the Red Queen. The Red Queen shuts down, power goes off, and then that kind of lets everything out. And then the other group gets attacked by zombies, and they shoot the zombies everywhere but in their head.
Well, because they didn't know what a zombie was.
Have they not seen zombie movies?
Well, I do think it's a good rule of thumb that if you have zombies in a movie and you don't immediately have someone identify that it's a zombie, it's like zombies don't exist. The notion of a zombie doesn't exist. So I think they were going that side of it.
So you're saying this is a world where they've never seen Night of the Living Dead?
Right.
Oh my goodness. No Dawn of the Dead?
No Dawn of the Dead, no White Zombie.
So there's no Rob Zombie?
No, well, I meant the movie White Zombie.
I know, but he was in the band. He was in the band White Zombie.
I mean, there might be that. It's just that people would be like, "What? That's just his last name. That's like Hoffmeyer Zombie."
Yeah, like a zombie. A zombie is basically like, a cobbler. That's just a different word for cobbler.
Right, just a different word for cobbler. But yeah, so they just think that it's like an injured person coming at them, and
there is a scene though, right, where Michelle Rodriguez is like, "We gotta keep him back," and she shoots one of them in the kneecap. And I'm like, if you're gonna shoot it in the kneecap, just shoot it in the head.
I do not understand though. Okay, zombieism aside, and animated flesh aside. Well, not literally like magically animated. They shoot each kneecap of a zombie and it kept standing.
Yeah. And these zombies had to go through a boot camp that Paul W.S. Anderson put them in.
Bunch of dancers.
These zombies were dancers so they could have control of their bodies, and they went through boot camp, and they whittled them down from 300 of them. And the producer plays 3 zombies, John. And they have a homage to Dawn of the Dead.
Do you mean the elevator scene?
Yeah, is that Day of the Dead? That's Day of the Dead. No, it's Dawn of the Dead.
You're right, that's Dawn of the Dead, yeah. That's Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, but I mean, so they're shooting she shoots a zombie with a gun, and it flies back 15 feet.
Yeah, the first time they really shoot one, yeah, that woman, the blonde woman zombie.
And then it reminds me of that scene from Hot Shots, where Charlie Sheen shoots the guy with this massive gun, and the guy basically becomes like silly putty on a wall, and then the guy goes, "That's a hell of a gun." And that's what I think whenever Michelle Rodriguez shoots that zombie. But then all the zombies run at him, and they just don't shoot any of them in the head. And then they lock themselves in a room, correct?
Because they don't know to shoot him in the head until the Red Queen gives them that exposition dump.
Yeah, you're right. She dumps that on them. So they get their butts kicked. Michelle Rodriguez gets bit 7 times in this movie. If you want to play a drinking game, just drink every time Michelle Rodriguez gets bit. And they get locked in a room. And Alice and Matt get separated. We find out that Matt, his sister, worked at the Hive. And as Alice is getting her memory back, we learn that Alice was going to help Matt's spiky hair's sister. He has spiky hair, not the sister. They were going to get some of that T virus. But the problem is that James Purefoy heard it and took it first. But then Matt is attacked by his sister, and only his sister. Alice kills his sister with a book, a paperweight, and she battles dogs. And I think my favorite sequence of the movie, so she's walking through these cages, a dog comes up. She runs through a room into another room, which is very Resident Evil, and a zombie attacks her in there, one zombie. She spin kicks that guy into oblivion. Then she runs into another room after that dog jumps through the sugar glass window, and there's about 6 dogs waiting. Like, that's fun. That's like Fun House. That's James Wan. That's fun for me. It's just building on top of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then she kills all the dogs with a gun, then spin kicks. No. What kind of kick is that, John?
Oh, I mean, what would I call that? That's like a jump spin crescent kick where you use the wall to facilitate the jump.
Interesting.
I see a lot of that in Hong Kong cinema. Jackie Chan did a lot of that stuff. The first time I saw him do that in a non-period piece kung fu movie, because he does in a lot of his period piece kung fu movies, was that I can think of was Project A in like 1985. But he's done this and he's always jumping off of something to throw a kick. And Donnie Yen does it a bit.
Paul Walker. Bill Murray.
Bill Murray?
So then she levels a dog, and somehow her and Matt are able to get back to Michelle Rodriguez and crew. That's never really explained.
No, but I mean, maybe. Well, when she threw that kick, that's when she learned, I know kung fu.
Yeah, she has her kung fu moment.
And so maybe with that recollection, she suddenly remembered, I don't know, something that made it easier for her to get back to Michelle Rodriguez and crew.
All right, so we get them all back, right? And then what's next?
We're all back. Michelle Rodriguez is up to like 2 bites. Do you think that she was bit that many times so that when she finally turns, no one in the audience could possibly say in the theater, like, oh, she got bit?
Like this whole movie, I just feel like she's like, ah!
Wait, so remember there's a point when the Red Queen is bargaining because the Red Queen wants Michelle Rodriguez dead, right? Rain. And they're like, no, we're not going to do it because they were explaining that anyone who's bitten or even just scratched becomes infected and will become one of them. Didn't she get bitten even yet after that happened?
Yeah,
and the movie's like, hey, audience, just to be clear, she's going to turn into a zombie.
Like she gets bit. Yeah, so because after this, oh no, so after the team gets together, right? They go into the sewers and she gets bit a couple more times.
She just keeps getting bit.
She gets bit a lot. But what?
Wait, but I think it was right before the sewers, I think, or maybe it was after the sewers that the Red Queen is like, hey, here are the rules for zombieism, and Michelle Rodriguez is a zombie.
Yeah, because they turn her back on.
Yeah, they just keep biting her.
She's bit a lot.
She's like a pincushion of zombie bites.
I wish she got bit in the hand, she got bit in the neck, she got bit in the leg, she got bit in the arm.
I mean, just speaking from a human physiology perspective, if a human being was bit that many times by a human being over what is in the movie world probably really hours, I think that she already would have been becoming feverish, even if they were regular humans, because of all the bacteria that humans carry.
Yeah. Especially the neck bite, right? Or does it matter?
I don't know if it matters, but just all those bites and just like human bites tend to become infected.
When you're losing a lot of blood and you have that infection, what's the difference between not losing the blood?
That was a mean wound. Just regardless of the fact that it's a human bite with that saliva. That's just a mean wound. To just be walking around with all those wounds.
Yeah, and she's not covering them up.
I mean, yeah,
remember that?
She can't be feeling good.
It was kind of weird though. There's a scene there she's like, when I get out of here, I'm gonna get laid, and one of the guys is like, you're gonna have to clean up first.
Right.
I'm like, what? What? Why would you say that to her?
It's that it's that soldier mentality. We're even telling dick jokes in the foxholes. Yeah.
So then they go.
You're gonna have to clean up.
Like he says that, I'm like, geez Louise. This leads them into the tunnels where the zombies plunge through, and it puts them in close quarters, right? And then they have to crawl. You know what's really interesting? I don't know if you got this far. So they get on, the zombies run in through the tunnels, and they jump up on some ducts, some what is it like air ducts, and they're climbing on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I thought was really interesting? I don't know if you heard this in the commentary, but they put dolly track on those. So as they're walking across them, they kind of hit them, but they put dolly track on there for camera. So they put cameras up on later on there, and they filmed them following them. So everything on there was camera track, but they built it into the set to make it not look like camera track. But once they say it, you're like, oh, that's camera track. Did you hear that part in the commentary?
I didn't notice that part. I made it down to the second to last scene though. When I was watching, but I didn't remember here. I just heard them talk about how that was the one stunt that Milla couldn't do.
Oh yeah, because something could have fallen.
Not that she was incapable, but the insurance company didn't like all the wires there in case something went wrong or something. And so, but apparently she partook in I guess all the other stunts.
Yeah, everything that she could be a part of, she was. And this is really random. I just want to tell you this before I forgot. I love that the thing that made the Red Queen was a disco light, and Michelle Rodriguez called him out for it. So the thing that
in the commentary,
yeah, and the thing the thing that can spawn the Red Queen, Michelle Rodriguez was like, "Is that like a $10 disco light?" And they're like, "Yeah." I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, so they're in there. Michelle Rodriguez, one of the, we haven't talked about the guy that's with him. And to be totally honest with you, John, I don't even think I wrote his name down.
The guy
with the
the
guy who was going to shoot himself, and they didn't shoot himself.
Oh yeah, the guy with the big eyebrows that they had to pluck down for the movie.
I was going to call him eyebrows. And
he had no significant lines.
But he's in it a lot. He's in this movie a lot, and he's like if the red shirt Star Trek crew member made it to minute 28 of the 30-minute episode. Yeah, exactly.
But he's always there and very obvious and ready to be taken out. But yeah, I swear, I can't think of anything he says.
He makes it through to the train at the end.
Right?
That's crazy. I do know you think he shoots himself, and then he's like, "You're gonna have to get me," and then he crawls away because he didn't.
Was that because his gun didn't work or something?
No, he didn't want to kill himself.
He just decided not to.
Yeah, he used his last bullet on the zombie. He's like, "I'm not going down like this."
So somewhere around all this happening, one of those containers had this big monster break out of it.
Did it? Oh yeah. Oh, the really horrible CGI slicker.
Yeah, I hate that they call it that, but yeah, this long-tongued monstrosity that actually will show up in later movies, or that same type of creature. But yeah, like that thing breaks out, and apparently like it spends about 15 minutes of the movie closing in on them and getting closer to them.
Bad CGI.
And then when it kills somebody, the Red Queen gives us an exposition dump. Like, oh, now that it's fed on a human, it has access to fresh DNA, it's going to mutate because that's how genetics works. And then we watch it, like, basically gain 200 pounds in 4 seconds.
Yeah, oh yeah, it pulled one of the aliens from the new Prometheus Covenant movies.
Yeah, I mean, I did like that little effect they gave it of like the transformation. It was just all close-up shots of its jaw, its, I guess, shoulder or elbow, and then another little spot on it. But I mean, it was just kind of ridiculous. You're just looking at it and you watch it like a growth ray hit it.
Oh, one thing I want to say real quick. I know this. Sorry if I'm going back, but I do like the scene in the tunnel where Mila's having that fight scene with all the zombies, and they had to slow it down. And then Michelle Rodriguez is like, "How'd you do that?" And then Mila's like, "Yeah, you just gotta double print the frames to make it slow. Like, you gotta shoot a lot of footage." Like, that's pretty cool that she knew exactly how to film that. I'm not saying because she's an actress or because of, but I listen to a lot of commentaries, and I've never just heard any actor say something just that easily about, yeah, you just gotta slow down the film and double print it.
And then Paul was like, "Yeah, it's actually really expensive."
But I just thought it was cool. And then later on, Paul Anderson was just like, yeah, like Milla and Michelle were on set all the time learning about all the guns. Michelle knew every single gun in the movie. They were there watching all the special effects. So I just think that's pretty cool. Like, you never really hear that on commentary. So I definitely respected Milla for dropping some technical shooting knowledge on people. But, so I guess, like you said, this creature's grown. What?
It is of all the things in the movie, though, like, this is my least favorite special effect, is when you just see this thing moving around.
It's bad.
It is. I don't know. Maybe in 2002 it looked better when we hadn't seen as much CGI. I don't know. But when I'm looking at it now, I'm just like that. Like, the Sci-Fi Channel will produce something better than that.
I mean, I guess it is definitely part of the budget. Because I was going to bring up Mummy, but that movie was probably what, $80 million to make, $70 million. So I mean, even Jurassic Park was really expensive to make in '93. But it's poor CGI, correct? Maybe it's part of the budget, but at the time there was movies like Matrix had come out.
Yeah, I'm just surprised they showed so much of it and for so long. If the CGI quality was that. I'm surprised they didn't, just make it more glimpses.
And I think Paul Anderson would have loved to just make it practical.
Right, and when we see that, well, I was talking about when it was starting to grow, before we actually just see it enlarge on screen, and you just see the jaw adjust or something. It's almost like it unhinged and grew. And I think those little tidbits were practical.
Yeah, I mean, probably just the smaller, yeah, like when it busts against the window, right?
Oh, and that too.
Lab.
That might have been.
Oh, we totally skipped the lab, but that was just, we learned Purefoy's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And that it was freezing in there, and they would dump warm tea to make the water cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a scene where I wrote in my notes, I was like, Milla has to be cold for like a month. Because her hair, she has wet hair Milla for the rest of the movie. So that means every day on set they had to do wet hair Milla.
Yeah, and she's very ectomorphic. She probably is not good at maintaining body heat.
And there's a scene where she's talking and she's shivering in it. You're like, man, these people are freezing.
Makes me think of Fifth Element.
They filmed in German. Oh yeah, they filmed in German, like an unfinished subway tunnel that they were currently working in places, so everything was cold. But yeah, so they get to the train and we get the famous neck crack zombie. What'd you think about Michelle Rodriguez finally becoming a zombie and cracking her neck?
I mean, she does well with it, but they knew for so long she was going to turn into a zombie. And then when they're like, oh, she's dead. Like, okay, zombies don't exist in this world. Maybe we didn't know how long this would take. But, like, just do something.
The Red Queen said they do keep a little memory. So maybe before Michelle Rodriguez went into battle every time, she cracked her neck, and that was just muscle memory?
I think it just looked cool. Because she does that in a part, it's like part 4 or 5, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she comes back because they're clones and all the plot gets very confounded.
All right, so she's fighting spiky hair Matt, and Milla's. This is a really weird scene for me because the spitter or the licker or the barfer. Can we call it?
It is bullfrog tonguing. It punches her in the face with its tongue.
Can we call it the barfer?
I don't care. I hate that monster.
All right, so the barfer.
You call it what you want.
This is the weirdest scene in the movie for me because the barfer is ripping off a section of the train. Nothing else. It's just ripping off one section. And you cut to Milla, and she's like looking all over the train.
Like, where is it?
I'm like, it's right behind you, ripping off the back of the train. Like, that's the one shot where I was like, come on now. You're not very good at what you do. If you're like.
But the monster sucks too. So yeah. The monster burst out of that metal container before it doubled in size, right?
Yeah.
And it's tearing apart like this thick side panel of this steel-walled train. And then when it gets in there and it's like 10 feet away from her, instead of just leaping on her and killing her, it's like whipping her tongue at her like a befuddled frog trying to catch a fly that's being pesky.
Yeah, it would have been better if it was the barfer. That would have looked gross.
Dude, and it was acid barf.
Just barfing acid?
I mean, so it'll barf at Milla. I don't want Milla to die, though, so she's going to duck, and then it's going to hit spiky-haired dude, and then he's just going to be like this melty skeleton. Like in Fright Night, when Billy dies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so then spiky hair gets barfed on. He melts. That causes a hole in the train, and that's what the thing falls in later. Right? Boom. Its own barf kills it.
But so spiky hair did get scratched by this creature when it first pierced the side of the train car.
Yep. So big old spiky hairs. I mean, watch this movie. His hair is very spiky.
It is very spiky. I don't know how it stays that spiky with all of the water they're going through. At some point, his hands would have been wet. You probably touch your head. He's probably sweating a lot.
Did he use wax or like a hardening gel?
God, you know what? It must have been like that super hard gel that like the lead singer of Offspring was using.
Yeah. Remember in the 2000s, though, everyone kind of had that hair. Early 2000s.
I had that hair.
Yeah. I mean, that hair defied. Like, there's a lot of hair like that. Remember
back when I had hair.
It was like the real hard gel.
Mine was called Ice Spiker, and that stuff like could damn near hurt your hand.
You could be used as a dart.
Oh yeah.
Someone made a giant dart.
I had sea urchin head when I did that.
So homeboy's scratched, Matt's scratched, and
Milla is cutting off the tongue of the belcher. She cuts off its tongue. This thing is so powerful, but when she cuts off its tongue, it's like it's like why are you so just leap at her and tear her in half?
Yeah, and then it just gets dragged and then it becomes belcher mush.
Stupid dead thing.
Yeah, it becomes soup on the railway. Then they get back. The hive closes, but the evil rabbit's already out, so it doesn't matter. And then they're kidnapped. Matt Spiky's taken away. And then
they take him to like Raccoon City General.
Yeah, he goes to Grey's Anatomy. And then
because what happens? He looks at his wound, and we see Lovecraftian tentacles coming out of it or something, right? And then someone's like, "He's been infected. We need him for the Nemesis project." We'll see you in the sequel.
And then we cut to Milla in a lab. Now, I don't know what the Walking Dead comics were, but she's in an empty hospital, right? And this is before 28 Days Later.
And she's basically naked again.
Well, I wrote a note. I wrote she's in a crazy sheet dress.
If you take what they put on my chest when I get a teeth cleaning at the dentist's office, that's her outfit.
Yeah, on both sides. So then she falls and hits the ground again, which she did as her own stunt. Then she goes outside, grabs a shotgun, and Raccoon City's just been overrun. And it looks like I Am Legend, basically. And she's going to go war with some zombies.
It does. You know what it almost looks like? It looks like the hell in Constantine before it caught on fire.
Yeah, this movie has some really familiar shots, which, the scenes like this had come before, like Terminator, Omega Man, stuff like that. So I'm not going to say it, but it definitely uses some imagery in striking ways. It kind of borrows, but also I think it certainly influenced. And then that leads
I do like the way she woke up, because the way she woke up at the end of Resident Evil 1, this movie, was actually more interesting and thought-provoking to me than when she woke up in the shower in the mansion in the beginning. Because in this one, she has these all these tubes and things going into the side of her head. We see that the side of her head was partially shaved. She's in more of an experiment center, even though she walks out of what says hospital on top. But when she wakes up, she's in such a panic about it. She is yanking these things out of her head. I'm like, that might be important. By the way, she's yanked. But I mean, something. So we know something happened to her.
Yeah, they did something. They did something to her, for sure. And Paul Anderson was like, I can't believe she let us shave her head right there, because L'Oreal was probably pissed.
It looked pretty edgy.
Yeah, I mean, it looked cool. And then so she wears this sheet dress. She puts a little coat on, and then she grabs a gun, and it's her against the zombies.
And then it's stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah, which we'll cover next week.
What's interesting is that I don't remember if it's every single one, but almost all of these movies end with not just the possibility of a sequel, but a very blatant, this is basically the first scene of the next movie.
Yeah, it's not maybe something will happen. It's no. It's
can you imagine, by the way, that I won't call it hubris, but the balls that Paul had when he was writing this? He's this is going to be, we're going to have a sequel. So we're just going to give one of part 2 at the end of part 1. They're Paul, no one has seen this yet. We don't know what the box office results are. He's nope, we're doing it. We're doing it. There's a sequel.
So
and they made 5 sequels.
So what do you think? Think that's a pretty, smart, because, I mean, it's a $30 million movie. So I guess worldwide I guess it was better to bank on a sequel than not. You have this famous property. Then you have Milla, right?
Well, I mean, what do you have to lose to? I mean, if you throw in that scene and there was never a sequel, it doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt anything. And by the way, now I didn't think to look this up, but historically there are a lot of Resident Evil movies. When this came out, was the game Resident Evil 2 already out? Or maybe when he was writing this, was Resident Evil 2 already out? Because if he saw a video game franchise in motion, that might have let him know it's look, no matter what, this is going to make money.
Well, he said the train was from Resident Evil 2.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so Resident Evil 2 already existed, the game, so maybe that gave him the comfort, regardless of the wide success of Resident Evil. He's nope, this is going. I'm getting on the Resident Evil train.
Literally.
I'm going to bring the tongue lasher on it. It's going to belch its tongue at Milla. She's going to cut off. She's going to cut off its vomit tongue.
Do you want to hear something interesting?
I always want to hear something interesting.
And sorry to kind of jump on you there, but without inflation, what do you think is the highest a Resident Evil movie has made domestic?
Without inflation? Wait, without inflation?
Yeah, so just what do you think is the highest, I guess, what do you think is the most money a Resident Evil movie has made domestically? The most?
Boy, I don't know, maybe the most recent one made $80 or $100 million?
You ready to hear this?
I'm drop it.
All right, so the most that one has made is $76 million. And
is it part 6?
Apocalypse, which
part
is
2?
Part 2 made. So Here's the order.
That's in 2004.
Yep, Resident Evil with inflation. I added inflation.
Oh, with inflation. Okay.
Yeah. Without inflation, it's 60 million, and that's Afterlife. But with inflation, I kind of screwed up the whole question a little bit. But it's kind of surprising because Apocalypse made 76. That shows people loved Resident Evil.
Are they still making Resident Evil games now?
I have no idea. I'd think so. But the final chapter only made 28 million.
That's it?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm surprised.
Worldwide, it made 312. So it made a lot more internationally. So
that money, that number doesn't necessarily surprise me, but the domestic shocks me.
28 million. Retribution did 50. Resident Evil did 64, which is really respectable.
You know why Retribution did okay? Because she was wearing leather. She was wearing shiny black leather with big shiny buckles. They underworlded her.
What did Retribution's the fifth one? It
Yeah.
probably made less because of Afterlife, and then Extinction was 68. Worldwide, though, I mean, it's almost in order. Resident Evil Apocalypse, Extinction. Well, wow. Afterlife. Afterlife came before or after?
That's part 4.
Oh, wow. So it almost goes in order. It goes Resident Evil, and then it goes Apocalypse, Extinction, Retribution, Afterlife, and Final Chapter.
Oh, yeah, so we're just swapping parts 4 and 5.
Yeah, and Afterlife and Final Chapter both made over 300 million. I do think Retribution's better than Afterlife, but I think it got hurt because of Afterlife's... People didn't really like Afterlife.
Well, the problem with Afterlife is that she spends at least a third of the movie. I don't remember perfectly, but it's like at least a third of the movie just like, I have no powers. And she's like, I need to be, well, not protected, but she seemed total. It's like we hamstrung our favorite character. So it was really dramatic when Wesker got her and is like, you don't have powers anymore. Oh, and Wesker isn't in this movie that we're talking about today, of course, but and then like, well, you just figure that she's going to kick ass to get it back. And it took a little longer than I enjoyed. I remember Afterlife being my least favorite theatrical experience of those movies.
Well,
even though when I watch it now, I like it more because I know the story more. And there are some cool scenes in it. I like seeing her all ninja'd up with her clones too.
Yeah, we'll have some good conversations about those.
If anyone hasn't seen these movies and you hear me talking about this stuff and I'm bringing up like Wesker and taking away her powers and clones and ninja outfits and leather outfits with buckles, and it's like people are just think we're having a fever dream right now.
Any plugs before we get going?
One big one. It's been a long time, but so Crash Palace, that's Billy Crash and Johnny Numb on the Last Knock podcast. They had given us a really, really kind shout out, God, like weeks ago at this point, maybe a month, and their island horror episode and their episode on the ritual. And I like they were specifically mentioning Johnny Numb was talking about our babysitter episode and how every time that he'd retweet it, I would give him the gif of them dancing. And I still remember on Twitter, at one point, I didn't even tag him in the tweet. He just retweeted one of my random posts for that podcast episode, and then he commented, I retweeted it, ... give me the gif. Anyone could look it up, but he just loves seeing it. And they also gave a kind mention to our episode as well. And I happen to listen to all their episodes. They're some of my favorite bug pinning podcasting at work, other than our own show, which I do love listening to.
Did they say anything about the cat?
They didn't get into it because I think that they were going to do their own episode at that point on it, so they didn't want to talk about it yet.
Got it.
But and also Sean Donahue from Gatorblade Films and Dave Koenig, who's a fiend on film on Twitter, have both been heavily promoting online the Tampa Bay Screams convention coming up in a few weeks at the end of August. Turns out it's 300 feet from my office.
Nice.
No joke. It's at the Clarion Inn right down the street from my office, like not like a block, not even. And but they've been promoting that hard. I think that Sean Donahue actually started that little convention just so that there could be a horror convention out there where it was easier to actually interact with and hang out with people and get to know people. And so it's outside of Tampa. So little shout out to them. And they reach out to me a little bit, and I try and help a little promoting too. But hopefully I'll get to see some of those guys there.
That's awesome. And then, yeah, thanks to everyone who constantly retweets, listens. Anybody wants to rate, review, subscribe, head to iTunes, do that. Also, if you're bored, type in Tom Cruise running, and you'll see an article I wrote for Rotten Tomatoes that got a lot of traction. You'll find a bunch of articles. Check that out. And no, thanks again for listening. Also, send in any listener questions you have about Resident Evil. We're going to cover all 14 of them. There's 14 of them, right, John?
I mean, there will be other by the time we finish. I mean, they've got a couple months, so there'll be 14 by then.
All right, so I guess I'm all set. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for John Levengood, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week with Resident Evil Apocalypse. Apocalypse?
Apocalypse.
Oh my gosh, I nailed it. All right, guys, have a good night.